calling from a 315 area code. Who's this? Where are you calling from?
Oh my gosh. Hi, this is Lydia. I'm calling from Nazareth, Pennsylvania.
Lydia from Nazareth. What's on your mind?
Well, first I want to thank you for playing Laura Trump after Tim Pool's dad, so I don't have to follow Tim Pool's dad. I can just follow Laura Trump.
There you go. There's nowhere but up from here.
So I've actually been trying to call in for a little bit. I wanted to really, since like the after the DNC, I really wanted to talk surprise about some trans issues and kind of how the LGBTQ community, but especially trans people, kind of got the short end of the stick, completely left off, basically. I think like Cory Booker and one other person actually like mentioned trans people, which is a really interesting like juxtaposition to the RNC, which that y'all will recall, that's all they talked about was trans people the whole time. So I just feel like that's an interesting dichotomy, and that they can't even be bothered to mention, what is it now? I think it's 537 anti-trans bills that are, throughout the states, and not even a mention.
Yeah. It was a really deliberate attempt, I think, to focus on abortion at the convention. Obviously to not focus on Palestine, or trans issues, even though we know that the electoral consequences of doing so are like not really a big deal. The Republicans that focused on trans issues lost a lot of their races in 2022. So you're seeing them focus a little less on it now. But the Democrats are running an extremely safe campaign over since Kamala Harris has entered into the race. And it's a shame because we should be fighting on all of these fronts, and we can.
And you hear like certain Democrats. One coming to mind is Cenk Uygur. But say that trans issues, like running pro-trans issues, is a hindrance to a campaign. When, like you said, Republicans have run on that numerous times, and it has backfired every single time. So which is it? Is it,
Yeah.
It seems pretty obvious to me that,
there's no evidence for what those other commentators say.
There's no evidence for it. And I encourage you, Lydia, if you haven't, we've had Ettinger Mentum on the show a few times, but he wrote a piece that really, it was the first thing I've read of his. And now I read, I'm a subscriber to his Substack. But he did the electoral history of transphobia. I think it was a year ago, his article, where it just goes through this line by line of all of these Republicans who ran on transphobia losing, because the reality is just that there isn't people, when you poll issues like say like, should trans women be able to participate in sports? You're not going to probably get a great answer from the general public. It's going to be transphobic to a degree. They're not going to have a full understanding of it. But when you go to like, what do people vote on? It's not this. Like, there's a difference. I mean, you can see. Okay, so like many gun control measures poll over 80%, 90%, right? Background checks or banning assault rifles is very popular. But why don't those issues have like the same electoral salience? It's because people who are gun rights nuts are the ones who are motivated to vote on that issue. And mostly people who haven't experienced, gun violence don't vote specifically on that issue. And if they are, they're voting for Democrats anyway. And so, I guess this is a long-winded way of saying the Democrats could be fighting this war more aggressively, but they're choosing not to.
Yeah, rich people don't like it.
Yeah,
definitely. And I think you also have to be careful about a lot of, commentators will project their own insecurities and their own anxieties around certain issues onto a theoretical voting base without actually checking if that's the case. Not to mention just how different, like Emma said, the difference between sort of being like, I don't really understand this thing and I hate these people and I want them eradicated is when it comes to like the voting population, which, that is a very, like that last position is a minority of voters. They just happen to be overrepresented, conservative media.
Exactly. Anyway, appreciate the call, Lydia. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Roger says they argue trans rights just to change the subject from the points they don't want to talk about.
Yeah, it's a red herring. It's about it's just about it's a placeholder content for a general argument about everybody else but us is less serious and strategic and needs to be disciplined. But we're the people who know the way out, and it is I think a joke and not credible at this point.
Hey folks, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and check out our daily show. We do it every day at 12 p.m. Eastern for about 2.5 hours. We even take phone calls. You should check that out.